Welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. These are the weeks that were, are, and shall be to celebrate the first anniversary of the release of Return to Edan and the completion of the Edan trilogy. I'll be putting all 3 books in the trilogy on sale. That is, the ebooks will be 99 cents in the United States from September 21 today. As of now, the sale begins when this video is coming out. So September 21 until September 26. And I will be also doing the sale in the UK, but I was unable to do it concurrently. So for some reason, Amazon wasn't allowing me to do that. But it will be from September 26 until October 1st. In the UK, it'll be 99p over there in the UK across the pond. So yes, there will be a sale for both. And I've had people tell me as well in other countries that they're able to access these sales. So if that's something that appeals, feel free. But the ebooks will be 99 cents or 99p respectively. In the USA from September 21 until September 26, and in the UK from September 26 until October 1st. And also, the audiobook of The Way of Dan will be out any day now. Honestly, I expected it to be out at this point, but the sound engineers are not quite done. But the audiobook will be out any moment now. It could happen any day. Alan and I are just waiting for the sound engineers to finish, and then we'll be uploading it to Audible. It will be available, of course, from Audible, but also from Amazon. And I understand iTunes as well is another place where you can access it. So yeah, I can't wait for people to hear Alan's narration. It's just brilliant. It is full of life, and the voices that he does are tremendous. I mean, he just does such a grand job bringing those characters to life. I just can't wait for people to hear this audiobook. It has been a real, a grand masterpiece in the making. I hope you will agree. So yeah, and then the special edition as well of The Way of the Dan. Let's not forget that from the broken binding. I've been sharing the art. I've shared the 4 color full spread pieces that are going to be in the book, and there are some black and white illustrations that I will be sharing soon. All 4 of them are done now, so I'll be releasing a video showing those off. The last remaining thing is the cover. So I think that's about it. We've got the map made by Jack Shepard. Did a tremendous job on this new map. It's a color map. I can't wait for people to see Jack's map. It's just fantastic. I'll probably make a video showing it off as well. And yeah, a foreword by Mark Lawrence. I'm probably more excited about that than anything else. Really, is that foreword is just, it's Mark Lawrence is just a brilliant writer in my opinion, and it's just amazing to me that he has a foreword in this special edition. And more, there's going to be some really nice touches on this special edition. I hope people will enjoy it. So yeah. Also, what else am I up to here? Well, it's time for SPFBO, and or Spiffbox this year, because it's SPFBO 10 with a X for the Roman numeral 10. So Spiffbox, I had a fantastic team who have given me my semifinalists for our group, and I'm so excited to start reading. In fact, I already read one. I already read South Breaks by Hannah Steenbach. I finished this. This was given to me by Von Roycroft, a member of my team, who, among the 6 books assigned to him, decided that South Breaks was going to be his pick for a semifinalist. So I'm really, I had a great time reading this book. It was a very meditative experience for me to read South Breaks. It's written almost like a folk tale. It has a very simple prose, deceptively simple, I think, but it gets back to some really primal stuff, and I enjoyed the read very much. It's very different from most other things I've read. Definitely fantasy in a world that it's tough to describe exactly, but there is magic in this world, and it does. If it feels like any part of the real world, I suppose perhaps I would say maybe it has the vibe of a hotter region, maybe somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. But I enjoyed the read very much. Really profound meditation on some important issues, and it was something that I'm looking forward to talking to Vaughn about, we're going to have a discussion. All of us, my team of 5 and myself, are going to have a discussion in late October on all 5 of the semifinalists. And that's going to be a really, I hope, well-watched discussion, because I really think it's important to shout out about these self-published books that people have poured their hearts into. And given that, I mean, if this book has been chosen to be a semifinalist, you have a pretty reasonable chance of finding it to be a very good book. So the other semifinalists that I'll be reading in the weeks to come include Trollgrave by Alex Bradshaw, and that was given to me by Matt over at Go Read Books, and I'm really excited to read that. That's probably the one I'll read next. And then there's Soul Stealer by L. McInerney, and that was given to me by Sam Harrison. And then there's The Sunset Sovereign by Laura Huey, and that was given to me by Abel from Abel Montero. And finally, our last one, which I haven't announced yet because it hadn't been announced the last time I made a Weeks That Were video, but it now is, so all 5 of them I've announced, and the last one is The Tenacious Tale of Tana, the Tender Sword by Bill Adams and Dewey Conway, and this was given to me by none other than my buddy Brian from BellTube. So I'm excited to read these. And among them, I will have to pick a finalist for our group, which will go against the other 9 finalists for Spiff Box. So lots of fun, lots of excitement. Go and check out some self-published books, the ones that these judges spend so much time deciding upon. You can pretty much guarantee that there are going to be some quality reads there. So if you're interested in supporting self-published authors, I encourage you to give some of these a try. So I also am continuing with my One Piece read, of course, and having a blast. One Piece, my happy place. It is tremendous that I have started the Summit War saga. This is a point where a lot of the fans have been telling me this is where it really gets epic. This is the really good stuff. I think so far I will have to say that Enies Lobby is my favorite arc of all. And I think that's not an unpopular pick at all. A lot of people love Enies Lobby. But I'm at a point now where in the Summit War saga, according to a lot of people, I'm about to read a couple arcs that could rival Enies Lobby. So we'll see. But I'm really excited to get into these arcs. I did actually start Summit War Saga and release my video on my thoughts on the... I almost hesitate to say the word now because there are some fans who pronounce it Shabandi and others who pronounce it Sabaody, and you can imagine any other pronunciation somewhere in the middle of those two, and it probably is used. And it was a kind of an amusing moment for me to see the comment section with various people telling me this is how it's pronounced or that's how it's pronounced, and there are as many different possible pronunciations as you can imagine, and some I think a bit of a debate. Let's put it that way. Debate about this pronunciation in the comments, sort of like Sanji and Zoro going at each other. That kind of a debate. You know, they're brothers. You know, they love each other, but they really do disagree sometimes. So that was part of my experience. But what a great couple arcs. I did read, I'm going to say Shabandi because that's the first pronunciation I was told. But I'm totally cool with however anyone else wants to say it. I loved the arc, and I also thoroughly enjoyed the following arc, the Amazon Lily arc. Some really big stuff is being set up in those 2 arcs, just big stuff, and highly emotional moments. The emotional spectrum is there in One Piece, and some deep, heavy themes. These arcs really take on just stuff like slavery and exploitation and the abuse of power, the justification for maintaining the status quo by calling it justice when really it's injustice, and just so much stuff. The dichotomy between justice and mercy, and just so much really great, deep stuff. And of course, as always, the pursuit of dreams and camaraderie and friendship and found family, and just One Piece has it all, everybody. It really does. So I'm just thoroughly enjoying this journey. It is tremendous, and can't wait to start. Actually, I have started Impel Down, which is one of those big arcs that just very barely started Impel Down. And then there comes Marineford, and these are 2 of the biggies, I think. So let's see what I make of them. And what else am I doing here? Well, lots of books in the future. So now that I read, I think I'll probably read another SPFBO book next, but after that, probably I will read R. Scott Baker's The Great Ordeal. This is the next book in Aspect Emperor, which is part, of course, of the Second Apocalypse series. This is the overall sixth book in the 7-book series that is the Second Apocalypse, but it is the third in the tetralogy that is, oh my goodness, there's so much to remember, Aspect Emperor. So I'm really excited to read this and to discuss it with Joanna. We've been discussing Aspect Emperor together. I remain just amazingly impressed by R. Scott Baker's writing. He's brilliant. He's a genius. He's one of the most talented writers in the genre, I have to say. And even though his vision is pretty darn bleak, it is the bleakest of bleak. It is my personal, if you were to ask me what is the most grimdark thing you've ever read, I would have to say Second Apocalypse. But it's just so compelling. It's so brilliantly written. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that very much. Also on the docket, we have Of War and Ruin. Look, this thing is as heavy as it looks. Of War and Ruin by Ryan Cahill. I've been enjoying this series a lot, and I've been discussing it with John from Talking Story and Christopher Navo and Mike from Mike's Book Reviews. Having a blast. This is just fantasy that you love to geek out over, and I personally have all kinds of stupid theories about what's going to happen in the next books all the time because I'm having fun with the series. But Ryan Cahill does know how to get you invested in his characters, and they are very fast-paced books, very plot-driven books. And if you're in the mood for that sort of thing, I don't think you can do much better. I keep comparing these books to John Gwynn's books, which I love. If you are familiar with my channel, you know that I'm a huge fan of John Gwynn. And I find that Gwynn is one of those writers who can really get me attached to characters, so much so that I often find myself in tears reading John Gwynn's books. So for me to compare Ryan Cahill to John Gwynn is, believe me, a huge compliment in my book. So I've been enjoying that journey very much and having a great time talking to those guys about it. In fact, it is possible that either today, when this video is released, or tomorrow, that would be Sunday, Christopher Nava will be releasing our latest discussion on The Bound and the Broken, which is the what's it called? The Exile. The Exile. We just recorded a discussion of The Exile. It's one of the novellas. I consider those novellas to be absolutely essential reading for the series, though. And so I'm reading those in publication order along with those guys and discussing them. But yes, the Exile was brilliant. It was a great look at one of the favorite characters from the series. And they become quite a great duo in The Exile. So yeah, check out that discussion over at Christopher Navo's channel if you're interested or a fan of The Bound and the Broken. And what else am I reading? Well, of course, I'm continuing with my Jenny Wirtz read of The Wars of Light and Shadow. And I'm so excited to be on the Traitor's Knot, which is the overall 7th book in the series. Just part of the Alliance of Light sub-series within there as well. So just had a great time recently discussing Peril's Gate with Joanna and AP. They are accompanying me on this incredible journey that is The Wars of Light and Shadow, and we've been discussing each of the books in the series. So yeah, they're all in my Wirtz playlist on my channel if you're interested in those discussions at any point. But man, this series, this is my kind of wheelhouse, really. This is what I think of when I think of the best of fantasy and all that. I mean, Jenny Wirtz is a brilliant writer. There's so much depth, so much beauty, so much wonder in her writing, and it is going to go down. Now, I keep saying it, but I really think it bears repeating. It's going to go down as one of the greatest series. One of the greatest achievements of literature, really, is the Wars of Light and Shadow. It's just brilliant, brilliant stuff. So I'm excited to continue that, and I'm also going to be reading A Sword of Bronze and Ashes by Anna Smith Spark. And I'm really excited about this read. One, because I've been wanting to read something by Anna Smith Spark for a while. I have 2 of her books, actually, along with this. I have A Woman of the Sword, and I'm excited to read that eventually as well. But the other reason I'm excited to read this is it is going to be a buddy read with Angela from Do Unicorns Read. And I'm excited about that because she's been away for a while. She's had some important things to attend to. And I'm excited that she's going to be returning and discussing this book, A Sword of Bronze and Ashes, with me. So that is going to be great. I've been wanting to read Anna Smith Sparks stuff for a long time. I hear a lot of praise for her. I've heard a lot from Ed and Will over at the Brothers Gwyn in particular about her writing. So yeah, I'm just really thrilled to be getting into that. And what else am I going to be doing? Oh my goodness, just so many things. Oh, speaking of Ed and Will, I'm going to be reading The Fury of the Gods. I don't have the book yet. I have pre-ordered it, and I'm really excited to finish up the Bloodsworn trilogy. Fury of the Gods being the third book in that trilogy, which is a huge favorite for me. I love The Shadow of the Gods and The Hunger of the Gods as well. Norse inspired. I've said many times that this is the trilogy where John Gwynne comes closest to the feel of the sagas. And I am thrilled that he is putting out this third book in the trilogy. Can't wait to read it. So excited. And yeah, that is going to be a priority read. As soon as I get that one, I'm going to start reading The Fury of the Gods. And what else? Let's see. Well, this thing I've been talking about for years, but I'm finally going to do it, and I'm being forced in a way because I did enjoy the first three books, of course, of this series. This very, I think a few people have heard of this series before, the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. I sat on Rhythm of War, and it just, I don't know, I just didn't get to it for the longest time. Even though I was pretty much caught up when this was released, I was ready to read it, and there's so many things happened. But I'm excited to read Rhythm of War and get back into the Stormlight Archive because, of course, the fifth book is coming out, Wind and Truth. So that's going to be a huge event, I am sure. And I am definitely enough of a Brandon Sanderson fan that I want to be in on that. So I'm not the biggest Cosmere reader out there, I will admit. But I think Brandon Sanderson deserves all the love and the recognition that he has earned by being not just a prolific writer, but a really great person who has helped a lot of other people related to the genre. For example, he went to bat for indie authors who were getting ripped off for their audiobooks. He's done some things like that, and I have a lot of respect for him. And also, I enjoy his stories. I had a good time with Mistborn, the original trilogy. And I have really enjoyed, especially the first two books of the Stormlight Archive. I will admit that Oathbringer, the third book, did have me a little bit impatient at times. So I do hope, though, to enjoy Rhythm of War and to get on to the last book when it releases in December. So, yeah. And what else? Well, that's a lot, but also we'll be doing, for the Quilluminati in December, The Last Kingdom. I want to make sure everybody knows about this because we had our most recent discussion on Ordinary Grace. Actually, I hosted that one. That book, Ordinary Grace, was picked by Mike from Mike's Book Reviews, and we had a great time discussing it along with Brian Bell from BellTube and John from Talking Story. The four of us are the Quilluminati, and the way this works is one of us picks a book when that person hosts. So because I hosted the discussion of the book that Mike picked, I got to pick the next one, and this was my pick, The Last Kingdom by Bernard Cornwell. And I actually have read this book before. I read it about 30 years ago and never continued in the series. I don't think the series was even finished, not even close probably to being finished at that time. And then they made a TV series based on it and all kinds of stuff. But it is a book that I read a long time ago. If you know me, you know probably that I'm a medievalist specializing in Old English. So this is really definitely my playground here. This is a story, if you're not familiar with it, set in Anglo-Saxon England at the time of the Viking invasions, so the clash between the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings in England. And I love that stuff. I mean, I that is my period of time. I've read many history book about that period, and I speak Old English, so and some Old Norse as well. I'm really, really looking forward to getting back to that because I've forgotten mostly what happens in it. I know there's somebody named Uhtred in there, or Uhtred as a lot of people seem to say, but really in Old English you would say Uhtred. So anyway, I'm looking forward to getting into that. Yeah, what else have I been up to? Well, I've been watching Rings of Power and discussing it with my nemesis, AP from A Critical Dragon, and that's been fun. We've had a lot of people give us comments saying, "Thank goodness there's somebody talking about this series without just completely trashing it." Yeah, I mean, there are some virtues to this series. They are doing some things really well. The cinematography is brilliant. The music is fantastic. And there are some actually good moments of storytelling in there as well if you're open-minded enough to watch it. And yeah, I actually think that this show has gotten more hate than it deserves, in my opinion. Is it perfect? No, no, no. AP and I were pretty open about the fact that we did not enjoy episodes 3 and 4 as much as 1 and 2 and 5. 5 was actually a brilliant episode, though. And so I'm looking forward to finishing the Rings of Power Season 2 and discussing it with the Nemesis to see what we think of that. Elsewhere on YouTube, really quickly, I am going to be tonight, as this video is released today, Saturday, this evening, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, so whatever that might be, wherever you are in the world, I will be chatting with Laura from Fantasy Awash for Love Bomb. That's a show where she chats with her fellow booktubers, and I'm so excited that she invited me to be on Love Bomb and talk with her about fantasy and books and whatever else might come up. So that's 7:30 Eastern Time on Fantasy Awash. If you want to check that out, I would love to see you there. And then I was recently on Parker's Pensays discussing Tolkien's essay on fairy stories. So if you're interested in that, please do check out Parker's video with me. I had a great time chatting with him. He is a philosophy PhD student who has a lot to say, really nice person as well. And we had a good time talking about on fairy stories and its relevance to the modern fantasy genre, among other things. And I also had a chance to talk with Richard and Austin over at Two to Ramble. And that was a fantastic discussion. I really enjoyed meeting those two and talking about prose. We talked about good writing and bad writing, and really, I mean, it's probably a little more nuance than that in the discussion, but that's what the thumbnail says. But yeah, those two are fantastic. Actually, very insightful, nice people. I love talking with people like them. We had a really, I thought, very cool discussion about prose, what it is, and different kinds of prose that you can find within the fantasy genre. Emphasizing that it's not necessarily a case of good, bad, so much as there's prose. Well, yes, there is bad prose and there's good prose, of course. But what I wanted to emphasize in the discussion really was more along the lines of there's prose where you have a plot-driven story, and maybe that's much more, as Brandon Sanderson calls it, transparent prose, right? Or versus prose that is much more artistic, that has more wordplay, that has more imagery, and that kind of thing. It's slower to read, but those kinds of stories tend to stick with you a little bit more as well. So yeah, it was a fun discussion. Check it out if you have not already. And those two are fantastic. So yeah, and then also I participated in a collaboration over at the Brothers Gwyn, talking about our favorite self-published fantasy, and there were some really great entries, some that probably wouldn't surprise a lot of folks, but maybe some that would surprise a few people. I had a great time talking about my favorite over there, and if you want to know what it is, go check out the video by the Brothers Gwyn. I was also thrilled that the Edan trilogy came up a couple times during the video, so I was actually really happy to see that. It really makes me happy when people enjoy the books. So yeah, and it's just incredible to have an audience, to have people reading and enjoying the fruit of my labor. Yeah, that's about it for me. Lots going on, lots of excitement. I will keep you posted on future collaborations and videos and all that fun stuff. But for now, it's just great to be here. And I want to thank you all for your support, for interacting with me, for watching the videos, leaving comments, whatever it might be. It's fantastic to know you all. And that is it from me for now. Until next time.